Welcome to the first video in the AI automation series from the absolute basics. And in this series, I'm going to show you step by step how you can install this entire stack without any issues. So in the first part of the video, I'm going to show you how you can install n8n locally. Throughout this entire video, I'm also going to explain to you why I am doing what I'm doing. So you just don't blindly follow it. And when you want to make some changes or something, you just get stuck. So in this video, you'll actually learn everything. And this is the one and the only video you need to set up n8n locally without any issues. So there are many different choices. For example, there are different ways to do this setup. Some people use NGROK, Cloudflare, and they go different routes. But all the routes have some positives and negatives. But in this video, I'm going to show you the perfect route. So there are no flaws and you won't get stuck no matter what you build in the future. So you'll be set forever. And I will also give you this entire guide, which you can use to set it up. To make this clear, this entire series will be to set all these things up locally. So if you want to learn how you can do this in cloud, and I'll also make a series, but that will be later. So let's look at the first step. The first step is that you need Docker on your computer. So click on this link and head to the official website. Then hover over this download Docker desktop button and select the operating system according to your needs. So I'm on a Windows machine, which is AMD 64 architecture. So I'm going to click this. And that's going to trigger the download for me. So I already have downloaded it, but you can just click save as or save and it's going to start downloading. So once this is done, you can click on the installer and this is going to open the Docker desktop installer. So it's just going to verify everything on its own. And I already have it installed. So it's asking me if I want to replace it. I'm going to say no. But when you download it from the first time, it's just going to move like this. You can see the green thing moving and it'll just complete everything. And you won't have any issues. I'm going to say no at the moment and close this. So that's step one done. So even before we move to the step two, let me explain you everything. So now I have Docker ready. Technically, you can just go ahead and install n8n. So now I'll tell you what happens. So when you're able to install n8n, so you want to use everything, right? So you want to use different kind of webhooks. For example, you can see all the app webhooks in add-on the trader and on app event. So here you can see all these webhooks. So you want to use all these webhooks, but you won't be able to reach them. So let me show you why. So suppose this is your system and you just install Docker here. So Docker is inside of this. So inside of Docker, you made an n8n container. So now this is your container. So this is completely shielded from outside events. So now it's not connected to the internet. It is sealed here. So to actually connect it to the internet, you have a few ways. The first thing that people suggest is to use NGROK. So let me show you exact reasons why you shouldn't use NGROK. From one of my previous videos, someone reached out to me on Instagram to tell me why they use NGROK over Cloudflare Tunnels. So let me just help you here. So let me show you all the reasons why you shouldn't use NGROK and why getting a 60 cents domain and Cloudflare Tunnels is simply the best choice forever. So the first thing is you don't get a static domain by default. So let me show you an example. So here I am. So I have my n8n running here in Docker. So there are two ways to use NGROK. People just do two different things. One of it is simply using NGROK from the application. The first general way I use NGROK is using the NGROK application and then exposing the HTTP port at whatever your application is running. For example, my application n8n is running at 5678. So I'll just say expose this port. And if I enter it, you will see that it's starting to expose everything and I can reach my website here. So now the local host is pointing here. So if I close this and reopen it again, so now you'll see I have a new forwarding address now, which basically means it's random all the time whenever you start. So it's not practical to do this. So what people actually do is they get the static domain. NGROK offers one static domain, only one. So if you go to their website and specifically get a static domain, so you will just get a random domain .ngrok and something, but you only get one. And for any more domains, you have to pay. So if you just invest 60 cents, what that's going to give you is unlimited domains. Suppose you want to expose 10 n8n instances, 2 Minayo instances, 5 Comfy UI instances. It's all done. But with NGROK, you just have to export one thing. And you only get one static domain for the free account. So there's one more thing people recently started doing is that they use NGROK URL and directly embed it as an environment variable in their n8n instance. So what that leads to is it points their editor URL directly to that NGROK domain name, which won't be much useful when you try to go ahead and do more things. For example, if you're hosting something somewhere else, then you would need cores, which is like close origins, resource sharing, and everything else. So it's just going to make everything more complicated. Why not just use 160-cent domain and get over everything? So let's talk about the second reason. And NGROK has no built-in DDoS protection. There's no firewall. There's no bot protection. It's just a random link. And the random link was not made for hosting n8n. It was for testing. So when you build application and you just want the links online for a minute, that's why ngrok was made. It was not meant for production grade environments and not even hosting anything. ngrok is not there to host. It was just a testing software. And there is no global edge routing. There's nothing. There are no analytics. There is no custom routing. It is not production ready. And you get everything here for free on Cloudflare. So there's literally no reason, and it's not even right, let alone reason. It's not right to use ngrok for this thing. So this is a no-go. And there's one more thing that people do is that they use the host.docker.internal webhook URL. It might work with some services, but it won't work with others. For example, you can just look at Google, and if you say host.docker.internal, so it's going to tell you that it does not take this URL. So it either takes localhost or you need an actual domain. So you can see how all these steps are unviable. This is not going to work. Localhost will work in some cases, but not in others. And as you go ahead, try to experiment with different softwares. So that's not going to scale. So there's one more thing, which is free domains. Free domains are good, but sometimes they can be scammy. So there are a few websites like Freenom and other places. They claim to give free domains, and they sometimes actually do. But there have been many cases where they randomly revoke it or try to force upsell you with their hosting. So we're not going to do this either. So the reason why the free domains don't exist is because there's an entity called ICANN. So this is the organization which takes care of the domain registrations. For example, there's a central body, right? So on each domain registration, they take 18 cents in US dollars. So they take this much amount for each domain registration. The free domain is technically not possible. And all the companies which try to give you these free domains, they're hoping that they will upsell you later or something and they'll make their money back. So now we have established that firstly, we need a domain name. So now we have established that we need a domain name and we're going to be using Cloudflare Tunnels because it's just one-time setup and you're golden forever. So let's look at the guide and see the next steps. The second step is to buy a domain. The cheapest way to get a domain on the internet is to head to this website. So this is TLD list, which means top level domain list. So this is like the central database for all the domain names. So what you can do is click on this cheapest registration, which is going to show you the cheapest domain, which is .cfd, and you can just enter any name. So I'll say Dorian n8n demo. So I'm going to buy this domain here. So now it just tells me that all these domain names are available. So I'll go ahead and click on this link. It's going to take me to Spaceship, which is a domain registrar, which is going to give us the cheapest domain names. And you can also copy the promo code. So this is DOM80. This is going to give us this price, which is about 60 cents. So now I'll copy my domain name, which I wanted, and I'll paste it here. And then I'll also add the top level domain, which I need, which is .cfd, because I've already made my mind. It is the cheapest. So you can see here, it's 77 cents. And when we add the coupon, this is going to be about 60. So now I'll add it to the cart and come here. Then press add promo code and paste the promo code that we got. And this is going to reduce the price. So now you can see it's about 60 cents again. So I'm going to click on checkout. So now on the checkout page, I'll go ahead and enter my card details and get the domain. So I've completed the payment, and then you're going to see the screen, and this is going to give you all the things you need. So now I've got my domain. So I'll click on library and then scroll below to find the domain portfolio. I'll go down here and there's the domain portfolio. I'm going to click on launch. So now I have bought my domain. So let's move on to the next step. The next step is to install n8n. So to install n8n, make sure Docker is running and then just copy this command from here. And then I'll show you some changes that you need to make. So the name can be n8n. This is the port that you're going to expose. So the first environment variable that you need to configure is webhook URL. And that's what this -e stands for. That is environment. So the webhook URL should be the URL on which you want to expose your n8n. So I bought this domain right here, Dorian n8n demo.cfd. So if I want that my n8n instance should be accessible directly on this website, so I should just add this with the HTTPS and all that stuff. But if I want it to be accessible on some subdomain, I can add that as well. So adding the domain is pretty simple. So I'm going to go ahead and do the harder thing, which is that I'll make n8n instance dot, and then I'll add this domain here. So this is where I'm going to host my n8n, right? So then I'll say HTTPS and this. So I have my link ready. So I'm going to replace your domain URL with this. Then there's one more environment variable we need, which is the n8n binary data mode. which is going to be file system. So as I explained in one of my previous videos, but I'll explain it again. So when you use n8n and all the workflows that are running, they run in the memory. So if you're dealing with many images and videos, which means you'll be dealing with large amount of files, you don't want your memory to run out. So that's why when we specify this flag, which is file system, it goes ahead and stores all these things directly in the storage as well. So it doesn't run out of memory. So that's all you need. It's going to fetch the Docker image from this location, and it's going to store all the data locally here. So I'll go ahead and copy this from here because it's configured now. I have done the webhook URL, and then I'll head to Docker and open the terminal and then paste it here. So there's one more thing, that every Docker container should have a unique name. And here you can see I already have an n8n container, which is my main one. So I'll change a few things here, and you don't have to change them, but I'll just change them so I don't mess up my data. I'll say demo, and then the data is stored in demo folder. So there's a new folder, and then the name would be demo. So now it's not going to throw me any errors. So my new n8n instance is configured now. So if I go on this link, you will see that it's going to load pretty soon. There you go. n8n is starting up. Please wait. So there you go. So our n8n is running locally on our computer. So if I go ahead and enter my details, and I'll just make a temporary account here. So I'll just call it test account and go ahead with next. That is going to create a new account for me. Either you can complete the onboarding flow to help n8n improve, or I'll just select get started and skip this as well. So now you go. If I click on start from scratch, you'll see a fresh new workflow. And now you can go ahead and start making things. But now let me show you the thing we just configured, which is the webhook. So this is our new link. And once I configure the Cloudflare tunnels, you'll be able to access it from anywhere. So let's look at the next step, which is make and configure Cloudflare account. So now what I'll do is click on this link and open Cloudflare's official website. So when I click login, it is going to log me in because I already have an account. So if you don't already have one, you can create your account and it's completely free. So once you're in the Cloudflare dashboard, click on add a domain. And there's also a button to do the same here and probably here as well in domains, right? So I'll click on add a domain, and then I'll copy my domain from spaceship, and then I'll paste it here. So once it's here, I'm going to select quick scan for DNS records and update. So now it's asking me to choose a plan. I'll just select the free one because that's all we need. So this is the next page you're going to see. Review your DNS records. So now we have to configure the DNS records and add them. So now, because it is a freshly bought domain, you see that it was not able to get anything and there are no records. So I'll go ahead and click on activation so we can just manually add them later. It's going to ask me, without DNS records, Cloudflare is unable to activate your site. So I'll click on confirm. So now this is where you have to configure the name servers, which is not so hard. So just copy the first link from here and go to spaceship and change the name servers. So now it's going to give me two options, and I'm going to select the second one, custom name servers, because you want the custom ones. And then I'll go to Cloudflare again and copy this and paste it here again. Then I'll select save name server settings. And now you can see the message, name servers for this domain have been updated. Changes are usually quick to propagate, but might take 48 hours. Generally, from my experience, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes. So if you're not able to see anything, just wait. And when it's ready, this invalid name servers is going to change to valid. It's probably going to be a green colored button. So either you can just continue and wait for it to configure. And now you're on this last step because it's waiting for the name servers to activate. That's how it's going to let you proceed. So you can check periodically by clicking this. So now it says Cloudflare is checking the name servers. Please wait a few hours for the update. So you can also check the details from here. If you scroll, you'll see the manage DNS settings. So click on advanced DNS, and it's going to take you to a new page where it's going to show you everything. So here it says the status is in propagation, and you can click on check name servers, and it's going to show you exactly what's going on. So green means propagated, which means that you can access the site from there, and blue means propagating because you just changed it. So everything is blue right now. So I'll see you in a few moments when it's green, or at least green here, because that's where I am. So at least I'll be able to access it. For other people, it's going to be up soon as well. And you can see all the locations here as well. So I'm going to be back when it's propagated to my location. I'm going to close this and wait now. So now I'm back in about 5 minutes. I'm going to click on check servers again. And there you go. So now you can see many of them have propagated. The only ones remaining are here in some of the places, the blue ones. But in most of the places, it's working. So hopefully Cloudflare can scan it now. So I'm going to go here and refresh this page. And let's see if it's active now, or it's still going to say it's invalid. So there you go. It says active, the green button. So good news, Cloudflare is now protecting your website. So now all the traffic is going through Cloudflare, and that's what we wanted. So we have configured the first 3 steps, which was to go to Cloudflare, make an account, add the bot domain to Cloudflare, and configure the name servers. The next step is to head to Zero Trust, then Networks, and then Tunnels. Then I'll head to this main Cloudflare logo to get to the main dashboard. So the earlier page was the domain specific dashboard, but we need to come to the main one. Then click on Zero Trust here. Then it's going to take me inside the Zero Trust dashboard. The next is to come here and drop down the networks and then click on tunnels. So this is a previous tunnel, the main tunnel which I use for my real n8n instance. So click on this create a tunnel. This is going to allow you to create the tunnel and then select from Cloudflare. So the first option, click on this and then name your tunnel something. So what I'm actually going to do is come here and see the name, which is n8n instance. This was a subdomain. I'm just going to call the name of the tunnel that as well. And you can name it anything. It doesn't really matter. I'll just say n8n instance. I'm going to save tunnel. So now on the next page, it's going to ask me for my environment. So click on the button according to your operating system. I'm a 64-bit architecture. I'm going to click this. And whatever you select from here, you'll see that the link here changes. For example, if I do 32-bit, it's going to change to 386. And if I do 64, it changes to AMD 64. So now you can click on this link and download the application. Let's configure a download here. There you go. So I'm going to save it now. And then sometimes it might say it's potentially harmful because it is for proxies and all that stuff, but you can just keep it. And then I'll select keep anyway. And now run this installer. Then it's going to ask me the same thing again. I'll run anyway. So I already have it installed. So that's why it's asking me to do a few things. I'm going to cancel it, but you get the idea that it's going to work immediately. There won't be any issues. Then it says open command prompt as an administrator. So I'm going to open the command prompt or terminal, whatever you call it, in administrator mode. So now I have my terminal open as an administrator, as you can see here on top. The next step is to copy this command, and it's looking pretty small, but this is an entire web token. And once you paste it, you'll see the entire thing. So here you can see that it is constantly trying to listen for connections. So once I paste this here, you will see installing Cloudflare service, making this whole thing, and it's going to do its thing in the background. And there you go. So now your computer is officially added to this tunnel. So I'm going to click on next. And now it's going to ask me what exactly do I want to use, right? So it's going to ask me everything. So if you just want to use the domain and not the subdomain like I did here. So here I specifically said that I want to use it on a subdomain. So I'll enter this on the subdomain section and add this domain here. But if you just want to run this on a domain, leave this empty. But for this case, I have the subdomain here. I'm going to paste this here. Then I will copy the domain name, and it's actually just should show me here. There you go. And the path is just empty. The type is HTTP, and this is the URL on which your n8n is running. So for me, it's localhost. So now I have added HTTP localhost 5678. So what this is going to do is tunnel all the traffic. So on my computer, it's 5678. It's going to take entire thing. So now it's going to tunnel everything on this route. So when I go to this route, I should actually see my n8n instance. So I'll go ahead and press complete setup. And there you go, successfully created DNS records and everything. So now you can see I have this n8n instance and it's showing healthy, which means the connection is active and everything is working. So you can just type, you can copy this and then dot your domain name and it's going to work directly. But as you know, it is too long for me to type. I'm just going to go to public host names and copy this and actually just click this. When I click it, it's going to show me the host name. And when I go here and I can access my n8n instance, and you see it's not giving me a sign up page because I've already made my account. So this is my local account and this is directly being propagated to this link here. So I should use the same account here, which was the test account, to log in. And if I enter the password correctly, it should let me in. Okay, so there you go. So now I am online and everything should work now. Let me test a few things. I didn't hopefully make a typo. I'll just add a webhook here. So now I'm inside the webhook and you can see I have my links and everything. So I'll go ahead and copy this and this is a GET request. I'll make sure I'll send a GET request from there and then I'll select that listen for test event. So now this node is listening for a webhook event, which I will send at this address. I'm going to head to Postman and paste this here and then click on send. And there you go. I get a 200 OK. The workflow has started and I'll go to my n8n instance and you can see that it ran from Postman. So I have configured my webhook and it should work from anywhere. So that's the benefit of this. So I can just copy this webhook URL and paste it in Google Drive. And if I replace this, you'll see it works and I never have to change it again. So if I make a new node, which is going to be Sheets, I can just come here, and when I tell it to create a credential, and you can see the OAuth redirect URL, now it never changes. It just stays consistent throughout the whole thing. No matter how long you use it, it's just going to work. So I should just be able to copy this and paste it in the Google credentials, and it's going to perfectly work. And I never have to change it again. Like in some services, for example, if you use NGROK and all that stuff, you might have to change things, but here you don't have to change anything. And let me show you that it's the same thing that you're running here. If I close this and then I save this item, and if I click save the workflow, so you can see I'm online at this location. If I go locally on my local instance, if I refresh this, you'll see that the same workflow is here as well, because they are just simply the same thing. It's just showing on a different location. And there you go. This is the same thing that I just saved here on this link. And the best thing about Cloudflare Tunnels is, for example, you have this instance running. You can just close it and you will see that now nothing is accessible. So on this tab, I have my local instance. This is the localhost 5678. If I refresh this, you'll see that this goes away because there is nothing running now. I have closed the container. And if I go online, it's just going to show me that there is nothing running. If I go to bad gateway, unable to reach origin service, and it's not going to work. So now if I also see in the tunnel section, you will see that this instance is healthy, but it's not running right now. And the good thing is when you use Cloudflare Tunnels, you don't have to do anything. Now you can see if I refresh, there is nothing. You just see that it's a bad gateway. But whenever I open my system and just click play or run, you'll see it takes a second to load, and in the next few seconds, you will be able to access this whole thing. There you go. Now it's ready to get it here. It says it cannot get, and now you can use it. That's the magic of Cloudflare Tunnels. You don't have to run everything again and again like an NGROK, and it is completely secured with HTTPS TLS service. And you can just use anything. You can use any kind of webhook. Everything is online. There won't be any connectivity issues ever. So that's everything for the first video of the series. I'm going to see you in the next one where we install min.io and link it to n8n with no errors.